Today, female athletes, parents, and advocates gathered in Washington, D.C. to rally for our bodies, our sports. They are supporting female athletes and advocating for single-sex sport competition. The rally also comes on the 50th anniversary of Title IX, the law which prohibits sex-based discrimination in education, and the law also guarantees women the right to equal athletic opportunities. Former Congresswoman and presidential candidate Tulsi Gabbard was at this event earlier today. She joins us. Nice to see you, Congresswoman.
Good to see you. Good to be here, Greta.
Okay, so I know you've been on the East Coast for a while, but you traveled far from Hawaii. Why was it so important to you to come to this?
You know, this 50th anniversary of Title IX really highlights the incredible opportunities and progress that have been made over the last 50 years. And so when you see actions like those taken by the Biden administration today, and a lot of the changes that we've seen that are essentially pointing to the erasure of women, both through actions like, hey, we're not going to use the word mother or father in legislative language. We're not going to say a mother. We're going to call someone a birthing person. And then you see the Biden administration really rejecting the objective reality that there are biological differences between a man and a woman, a male and a female. And so I felt it was so important to stand with these brave athletes and their families today who came out really to say, hey, yes, there are very clear differences and there are very negative consequences to the decisions that are being made by this administration and others that are hurting girls and women.
All right, you may be a little bit ahead of the curve on this. You know, this lately it's been a lot of discussion. When you left Congress, didn't you have a bill before you left Congress on this very topic, before it sort of hit the radar screen, everyone discussing it?
I started to hear from parents, you know, so some of those
that was December, what, December 2020?
That was in December of 2020. We saw those girls in Connecticut who were racing against biological boys and who had been champions before and were now losing these races and essentially being told by these biological boys, run faster, essentially suck it up, train harder, when they knew that they had been training as hard as they possibly could and that there are physiological, biological differences between them and these biological boys. And so I joined with my Republican colleague and friend, Mark Wade Mullen from Oklahoma, who, by the way, has 3 daughters who compete in wrestling and who understands as a father what a scary this thing is if his daughters are forced to compete against biological boys. And so it was a very simple bill, Protect Women's Sports Act, and very directly sought simply to uphold the intent of Title IX.
You know, I'm old enough to remember when Title IX was enacted. In fact, my year of high school was the last year we didn't have it, and the idea of women's sports or girls' sports is to pile about 6 or 8 girls into a car and run around town. I mean, because we had no sports,
Right.
There was nothing. But for girls and women afterwards, it was leadership. It was learning to work with others. It was healthy. It was achievement. It was scholarships. I mean, it was such when that was signed by Richard Nixon, Title IX, it was such a big deal.
It's huge, and I think people forget sometimes that literally it was about prohibiting discrimination on the basis of sex. And you look at the battles that were fought to be able to get to that point, to prohibit that discrimination. Again, generally understanding there are biological differences between these sexes of male and female. And so to completely dismiss that is to dismiss that there is objective reality, to dismiss that there is truth, and to then believe that, you know, anyone could just walk up one day and say, hey, you know what? A man can say, I'm a woman, and then that's it. In fact, biology proves otherwise.
Is there a place for a third league? Or I mean, like, you know, we have, you know, women's
Sure.
leagues, men's league. I mean, is there a place for a third league? Would that make things easier, better, accommodating?
I think there are ways to be able to make sure that people who fall into that category, whether they are trans men or women who identify in different genders, are not hurting and undercutting and essentially erasing the reality that women do exist.
You know, I saw the woman who was swimming, and I think to myself, as people who swim, it's like, I remember there's a lot of swimmers that they get up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
That's
they
right.
train all day long to get these scholarships, and and it's sort of a surprise then all these years later to compete against someone who might be physically more able.
And in that case, very seriously, more physically able, both in, you know, as a swimmer, you have, you know, just the build of your body. I talked with some of the college students that were there today, and they spoke about Leah Thomas in particular, and how about in that specific situation in the women's locker room, Leah Thomas was exposing male genitalia and boasting about how, he was still dating women and going out with women. And these girls felt sexually harassed and threatened, went and reported it to their administrators and were told, be silent. Be silent. In any other situation, authorities would have taken action immediately. And I think that just speaks to the fear that exists around this, why we're not seeing any action really coming from Congress to take a stand.
What do you think? Why is this not?
It's this cancel culture. It's this self-censoring. It's this thing that is as obvious to any one of us as, night and daytime, is that there are biological differences between men and women, period. That is a reality. And the fact that that is no longer a widely accepted for the truth that it is speaks to the fact that we have too many weak leaders in Washington who are not taking a stand for our women and girls of today and generations to come. It's absurd.
One quick question: you still surfing?
As much as possible.
Anyway, always nice to see you,
Nice
Congresswoman.
to see you,
Thank
Greta.
you for joining me.
Thank you so much.